All right, the last portion of the pattern that could be shortened or lengthened is our sleeve. And this is a little bit different than what most people think of when you think of a sleeve pattern piece, because it is a raglan sleeve. So up here, this is the shoulder at the neck, not the shoulder out at the arm, top of the arm. It's clear starts clear up at the neck. And this is a dart that actually forms it and shapes it over your shoulder. So when we measure how long this is, we have to measure from up here. And I'm planning on cutting my sleeve. Remember, I cut everything else in the pattern at the 1x. So I'm going to cut this one at this. And then my stitch line is here, 5/8 inch down, 5/8 inch there. This, of course, will meet together once it's made, right, and stitched in. So we can just use one of these. And then down here at the bottom, that is going to be sewn on to our band, the cuff. So right now, this portion here is 5/8 because that's a 5/8 inch seam. So between that and this, I'm going to take a measurement. And if we lay this here, go down, that measures at our stitch point finished 28.5. All right. So let's just write that down on here. Let's see, I don't want to use that because it soaks through. So we'll try and write it big. 28.5 inches. All right. Now that's not the finished length, because just like on the bottom of our jacket, we have this cuff. And the cuff piece will get folded in half, just like the bottom band piece. And now this distance there to 5/8 inch seam, that's the width or the length of the cuff as it goes on to here. If we match that stitch line with this stitch line, now we can measure our finished cuff, which is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to write that plus 2.5 inches for cuff. We're going to call this the sleeve. So when this is all said and done, it is 1/2 and 1/2 is 1, and 28 plus 2, 30. So 30 plus 1 equals 31 inch sleeve from the neck, like where your chain of your neck and your shoulder, if you were wearing a necklace, that point to your actual wrist, somewhere in here. Okay. So now remember that to measure that on your person, this is one that you really kind of need to have some help doing. People will tape this end up next to your neck and try to do it that way. But I went ahead and had somebody just help me get mine. And my finished from up at my neck, over my shoulder, down with a bent elbow. Remember, we don't want it straight because we need to have that ease worked in there. A bent elbow over the elbow and down to your wrist bone. That measurement I had taken, and it was actually on me 28 inches. Okay, so I wanted a completion of 28 inches without any ease. Now, if I do exactly that, it probably means that when I would move my elbow, bend my arm, it's going to slide up. So we want to have some extra ease in there. We don't want it to be 1-to-1, right? So on this 28, I think I'd kind of like to have 2 inches in here. Okay? Somewhere in there is my goal. So I'd like to have it finish at 30. But right now, it's finishing at 31. So I know I want to take at least 1 inch out of my finished. So I'm going to take 1 inch away over here from that 31, gives me the 30. 30. So I'm going to take 1 inch out of this. And to do that, we just have to mark our line along our here for 1 inch above this. I'm going to take it up instead of bringing it down. I'm going to do that on this. I'm going to also place my ruler here on that middle line there on my shorten and lengthen. This was from a little bit ago when we were doing the others. And now I'm going to draw a line. Leave that line out here and over here. And now I am going to fold this up to match that line and to match my arrow point right there too. So sure we're accurate in our folding. Like so. Stay on the lines. Now we have taken 1 inch out of the sleeve length. So it should end up being much closer to that 30 inches, which still gives us a couple of inches for it to blouse over and still have the ease that you need. Okay, so once I have this done here, taped down, now it's time to true these edges. Now this side stitches over here to this side, right? Okay, so those cutting lines. So what we're looking at really is between, let's see, I'm going to do it on this one here so you can see this under. If this is my cut line for the 1X right there. Now I have to split that difference. And it is a bit of a curve, not a drastic curve, but I'm going to use where it's not much of a curve down here. And I'm actually going to start up here and blend it into there so that I am kind of splitting that difference. So that looks pretty good. Let's take that. See what that does. See what that looks like. So there was our difference right here. Not quite splitting it in half, but I'm on a very nice trajectory on this cutting line and back into it down there. Now, since it has to match the other one exactly, I'm going to lay this on top of it. Now, it doesn't match up here in this area. Those seams don't match each other because one's for the front and one's for the back, and it sets differently, right? You have different length there. But under the arm, these two seams, they have to be exactly the same. So I'm going to match up my little starting there and match up my cutting line there. Okay, and now I'm going to sketch in this same stitch line. Now that I have it kind of sketched in there, let's put down our ruler. And let's see if we've got it. Okay. So there we go. Now we have our 2 lines. One this way, one that way. And we have trued our pattern. This is still going to be our notch. We're just going to move them up here like this on that side. And over on the other side, I'm going to move it up like so. And that has adjusted our sleeve. And we will be ready to cut it out. Okay, that is the last adjustment as far as lengthening and shortening of our major pieces in the pattern. Okay, see you next time. Bye.